Good afternoon, Mao, and good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for the introduction. So I guess you'll need to pay attention to my presentation for the Raffles draw. Okay, so kind of let me start for today. Today my topic is mainly on data-driven transformation using our Oracle Modern Data Platform. But kind of before I start, I would like to kind of share some data points and then how to lead into some of this discussion about modern data platform. But before that, this is just our standard harbor statement. So spend the next 5 seconds reading through this. Okay, and I hope you have a great lunch virtually. Okay, and let me get started. So how do I get started with this? Okay, so I think this is not new. The new normal is now the new thing. Okay, this is just a kind of I thought this is quite a nice graphic showing all the different behaviors that's changed during the I think about 2 years where we are living with the pandemic, and everything has changed for us and specifically for the business and the enterprise, schools, work, banking, even vacation, entertainment has all changed. For the enterprise side, mainly we are looking at consumer side, we're even looking at a 87% increase in all the digital payment across Philippines. These are Philippine data. E-money transaction has grown and now even surpasses the credit card and debit card transaction in Philippines today. And GCash, I think the recent May, their volume has kind of increased year on year by 700%. And everybody is racing towards digital services and experience. Okay. For the people going through the different cycle, I would say the different acceleration and transformation cycle, bearing COVID in mind, have kind of be familiar with this curve. It's, I think, published by IDC in 2020 when the COVID just started. Okay. And they are predicting a 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of evolution where you get all the business continuity things in place because of the COVID, and then you go to some ROI focused activities, operational resiliency, then acceleration and innovation. But what happened in the pandemic is that you will see that a lot of our customers actually kind of cycling in between 3, 4, 5 and going to 3, 4, 5 again, kind of round and round effect because of all the new variants that is coming out. So I thought this is still pretty relevant, and if you would see, especially banks, are definitely closing up the whole digital divide that we call them. Okay, where they are a lot of the services are now kind of online and real time even. Okay. I switch gear a little bit and then look at, within this period of the pandemic, if you look at the overall worldwide, what we consider cloud IT infrastructure, hardware spending, kind of snapshot. Okay, it's very interesting because we are even looking up to 2024, 2, 3 years down the road, and we are even seeing that the on-prem infrastructure has still very big share of wallet. I think it's easily around 57-60% of the total share of wallet, although a lot of people is talking about moving to the public cloud. Okay, but the on-prem infrastructure, what we consider the private cloud, the traditional IT, are still a very significant portion of our IT spend in a lot of our enterprises. So primarily, there are two tracks of things that a lot of enterprises take to address this, and also driving the spend. I'll go a bit deeper into that later in some of the data points. Okay, there are activities regarding modernization and optimization on your current traditional infrastructure, moving to even the private cloud before moving to the public cloud. And there is also a lot of activities that I've seen in the recent 12 months regarding this work called a modern data platform. I would term it as a second mover advantage kind of initiative, which I'll draw mostly focus for this presentation. I wouldn't touch too much on modernization and optimization because it's an ongoing, I would say, the ongoing initiative that a lot of our customers or you have been going through. Okay, dwelling even deeper, I like this term called the on-prem and off-premise equivalent because when we talk about public cloud, actually it is basically what we consider or IDC will consider as off-premise, but they have kind of reached a point of equilibrium where you would see that the growth or the share of wallet will kind of reach around, I think the on-prem is still about 57%, and the off-premise will be basically the rest of the remaining. And even in this data point, specific, this is a worldwide data, by the way, specifically the off-premise, we even included the public cloud and also the private cloud that was hosted or outsourced outside of the customer data center. Okay, and even looking at that, okay, we see that there is still a lot of growth being driven in the on-premise infrastructure world. And interestingly, I mean, there are some good articles around there you can read through, but we're seeing a lot of forces that are driving all these off-premise hosted private or public cloud services are also the driving force to consolidate into the traditional on-premise IT infrastructure. And they surround these three, I would say, key attributes: consumption-based IT, software-defined IT, and hybrid cloud operation. What do I mean by that? Consumption-based, okay? Of course, everybody, when you look at consumption-based, everybody think about this essence of public cloud. But because over the year, evolution, new innovation in the technology space has actually brought a lot of this consumption-based attribute into the on-premise world, into the on-premise infrastructure. And this helps to also drive, you know, some of the driving forces behind the growth in this market, okay? And at the same time, you have this software-defined kind of IT or everything, okay? I won't go into the details again, but with modern applications, they are all driven by either virtualized infrastructure or containerized infrastructure, and everything is kind of software-defined. And again, because of all the enterprise technology that has been brought by different vendors, you'll see that enterprise and IT environment are all built on this seamless, consolidated, converged infrastructure that is fully software-defined and driven. And finally, about hybrid cloud operation. Hybrid cloud operation basically defines the process for creating value, growth, and competitive advantage to new offering and business model. Again, hybrid cloud is also something that is defining the IT architectural approach towards, I will call maybe the third platform design, and at the same time where enterprise can achieve, you know, optimum balance between the dimension of off-premise, on-premise without sacrificing performance, reliability, and control. Okay, so these are some of the forces that's driving all this growth, even in the on-prem infrastructure spend. Going into more the APAC figure, just now I shared the two worldwide figure. I think this is kind of interesting too. This is this is the APAC data. Okay, if you look at it, you know, I kind of like this breakdown, you know, I use it, okay. Customer IT infrastructure, if you broke it down, has your on-prem, non-cloud, off-prem, non-cloud, enterprise, private cloud, and hosted private cloud, and then IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. If you notice, 30% are the true private public cloud, and easily about 70% are still retaining within what we call the on-prem infrastructure. Okay, and customer tends to choose, and we're seeing a lot of patterns, the customer tends to choose still going into the private cloud infrastructure, because with all the technology, with all the innovation that happens, they are all kind of agile. There is a lot of automation, simplification of management, and primarily they are kind of stepping stone towards customer readiness to go into the public cloud. So there are a lot of cloud ready flexibility, and there is also dedicated resources that kind of retain your security and your control. Okay, so these are kind of very interesting data driving a lot of this hybrid cloud deployment. Okay, another data point, I kind of like to start a bit of data point sharing first. Okay, now there is another new term, you know, they call it the local cloud as a service, primarily on-premise cloud deployment. And interestingly, this is growing 8 times faster versus the public cloud. Okay, and it addresses about what 70% of all your new or a lot of our enterprise customer new application on-prem deployment. Okay, I think this is some good data that, you know, if you look into the next 2 years, a lot of this spend are also in this arena where we can continue to focus our technology, and of course, what's Oracle doing about it? I have a very simple kind of one-pager kind of thing to address this first topic about modernization and optimization. Okay, we have a whole series of technology products that kind of drives all your database workload, analytical application workload, and all the recovery and storage requirements. I won't go too deep into all this, but primarily these are kind of traditional IT driven, okay, and where we have all the way from database to the edge machine to the private cloud infrastructures, and then private cloud infrastructure, correct, and also covering all your backup and resiliency requirement. Okay. But anyway, but then we go into another data point, which I kind of going to know the agenda proper, which is the data-driven transformation. This is an interesting survey, and I kind of circle out this particular toolbar. In Asia Pacific, interestingly, a lot of people is looking at new digital business across the world. Asia Pac tends to look at these two areas more, which I think is pretty relevant in some of the engagement, some of the projects that we have been engaged with our customer or enterprise customer with, is in the way of looking at new business model and also in the way of driving monetization of data. Okay. And data is actually, I mean, everybody knows by now, a lot of the digital transformation or digital initiative surrounds or the underpinning intelligent core is actually about data. So data is now potentially the most valuable asset in a lot of our enterprise customer, in a lot of our initiatives that we go for digital transformation and so on and so forth. Okay, everyone will expect excellent, I would say great, excellent digital services, and at the same time, new technology that we have rolled out or innovation through collective, the IT community. Oracle itself has also dramatically reduced the barrier of entry for a lot of these data-driven initiatives. Okay, and as early, I think, as 2017, I think this is the economists, they have already kind of looked into this area where the world's most valuable resources is not actually the data. Whoever they can control, manage, deploy, consume, or analyze it will actually, you know, driving the competitive edge against a lot of your competitor out there. But data is actually not something I would say is new. It has been evolving across the years, many years actually. But if you can look at data, is something that is kind of consumed by many different owners, from all the way of your transaction owner to all the way to your C-level, to your board level, to the cross-departmental level. And there are many different kinds of data across the year that's evolved. I mean, I just kind of put it out there all the way from the 1970, where it's all 79, where it's all relational. And now, you know, through all the in-memory, the blockchain, and also a lot of new data types are actually created along these, I don't know how many, past 20, 30 years. Okay, so this is something interesting. And why am I talking about this topic? The problem is this, okay, as data starts to have more varied in terms of the usage, in terms of the form and shapes that they take, or in terms of the different data types that is actually driven out, you know, it actually now requires an architectural approach, you know, to look at how best to actually address this. And if you look at database architecture, there are kind of two main arguments, two main contrasting views. One is where you have single purpose built databases or data platform for each individual specific use cases or usage. And then you will have another one, which is, you know, kind of the first mover that time is more single purpose. And if you're the second mover going to it, people are now looking at potentially in terms of a converged database approach, where you can support multiple data types and multiple data workload and use cases. Okay, so, but if you look at it from a challenge perspective, why is Oracle saying that single purpose data is a kind of a challenge for the enterprise? Okay, let's assume you start off with something very simple. You know, you have a data, you know, you have an application drive data. Now let's say we want to make it location aware. In the world of a single use best of breed approach, you will then introduce location aware data bases and then try to integrate, replicate, event-driven it into your application database. Okay, and now let's say line of business decided to have some weekly report These are transactional data. Now need to have analytical things. You introduce another analytical like databases, and again, do all the integration, exchanging the data, so and so forth. Okay, let's we are done with it, and suddenly, you're manufacturing. You have IoT data coming through, and you want to store them, use them. You create another database, and then again, then federate or integrate into your application data warehouse. Okay, and let's say now, that security breach, CEOs, yeah, all very concerned. So what do? You need to make sure all these databases, integration points are secure, and at the same time, suddenly now board mandate that you should have disaster recovery. So what do? All these databases, you've got to duplicate them, into two sites, again, very, very unmanageable as you go along. And finally, the newest data comes in is data scientists want to make everything smart now. You can do your machine learning, you can drive AI actions. A lot of these things will just make it very unmanageable where different databases start to pop up. And then we tend to see this in the first generation data platform where everything is in their own sideload, everything is purpose built. It tends to serve that need at that point in time. But technology is moving in a very fast rate. In my time, we used to talk about a 5-year cycle. Nowadays, we are talking about less than 12 to 18 month cycle. A lot of this technology are innovation. All this innovation are actually driving a lot of these newer technology out into the market. So rather than focus on integration, let's focus on innovation. And that's what drives the need for the Oracle Converged Database, where we have only one database that actually aggregate, consolidate with the different kind of data type or data use case that you will need into a single platform or a single database, driving all the the most fancy data analytics to the more data scientist stuff, and also for the new blockchain, IoT, and even application development. Okay, so in a converged database is something that we tend to kind of look at it in some of these key characteristics, which is a union of all the best capability. Rather than call it a database, we should look at it like a data platform for every single type of data workload and every single type of data type. Okay, and Oracle, I mean, we have one of the world's most popular database, but what we are actually striving to do, and you can see the evolution of our database technology, we want to strive to be the best in class in every class. We are known for the traditional OLAP, for the traditional analytics, the traditional OLTP stuff. Okay, but there are new generation data like microservices, IoT key value chain. Then you have your big data that drives all the machine learning, AI, and of course all the traditional relationship, relational data, document data like XML, JSON, and also graph and spatial. What we consider more the structured or semi-structured or a bit of unstructured. Okay, and across the year, we continue to partner with our with our big customer to look at what they need and try to embed all this technology into our database. Okay, so now I would kind of like to see more like a data platform that actually cuts across different use cases, different data types, and introducing all the next generation technology into a converged data platform. Okay, here. Okay. I won't go into all this depth, but a lot of people kind of didn't really know, so I thought it's a good idea to share a little bit of this information. We have over 20 years of machine learning and data mining innovation done in our database technology. Okay, I just give some of these names. In the past, we tend to call them data mining. Now the popular term is, of course, machine learning. Okay, all these are in the database where we can actually leverage them when you deploy our Oracle data or Converged database. We have also introduced a lot of graph analytics algorithm, okay, for customer to actually to introduce graph analytics, because hundreds of enterprises actually have all these graph analytics today. Okay, and also spatial power, the most demanding geo data, our geolocation or geospatial application. Okay, a lot, thousands, now, any banks you go to, any in fact, any enterprise you go to actually have introduced spatial data in their application. And I think what is important is that Oracle actually has embedded all this technology. These are just some example of what we've embedded already into our database technology today. Anything from 19C onward, we tend to term them as converged database. Okay. Not only that, we have also tried to make our data more accessible to this technology, a low-code application creation. We don't use the word development because it's really low-code, so we call it Apex. Make it simple to create local application. It's all IDE driven, and it tends to be able to expose a lot of your data in what we call a data-driven development. Okay, we are making data development work more end user based, popularizing development of data-driven application. And of course, via local, you can do easy iteration of app to be able to evolve your businesses as you move along in your development work. Okay, so I thought these are some of the key things that were introduced. Okay, but more important is that we have to put all these things in a platform, in a physicalized platform at the end of the day. Okay, so that's where Exadata comes in. And you look at Exadata together with our converged database, overall, you will see that as what we term as the modern data platform. It is a converged database on a singular platform that tries to drive or dramatically drive cost and complexity down. Optimize for different kind of workload. Because we don't exchange data, between the different data types. It also lower the complexity in data integration. Security applies to the whole database across the different workloads. Consistently available and scalable. Protect. We have all the protection capability for all the fraud cases, and also drive machine learning adoption. Okay. A kind of high level overview. This is kind of what we look at in terms of minimize it. A Oracle modern data platform architecture. A lot of these integration work, from different sources is all converged into a singular platform. You can call it a operational data platform. You can call it a data warehouse. You can call it a lake house. You can call it, all these popular terminology. All this popular terminology out there in all these data warehouses or data platform architecture are primarily a representation. If you kind of look back, past 2 years, 3 years, they are kind of driven because they are all purpose-built, specialized, best in breed. Whereas in the world of a converged platform or a modern data platform, we kind of ignore, all this terminology because everything is within a same consolidated platform. Oracle Exadata driven by our converged database. Okay, all the great features, and then we can drive analytical consumption faster to your customer. Okay. I would like to spend a bit of time because we have just introduced Oracle Exadata X9M. I think it's officially launched sometime in late September, something like that. But we haven't been doing a lot of launch work because it kind of happened in the middle of a quarter. So in the next 1-2 months, there will be a lot of activity where we start to have more introduction on this particular platform that was just released. Okay, this is called Oracle Exadata X9M. So I thought this is a good forum today that I spent a little bit of time introducing or launching this or doing a mini launch. These are a lot of our customers, that's in this forum today. Kind of run through a little bit about what is happening with Exadata next version, the X9M one. Okay, I think we have since started Exadata since 2008. 77 of all the Fortune Global 100 runs a lot of their mission critical workload on Exadata already today. Okay, that we have about 12-year history of advancing or innovating our Exadata, and every 12 months we tend to improve not just the hardware platform but also the co-engineered software platform together as a collective. Okay, Exadata is no change in the direction. It's a co-engineered system. We want to achieve leadership in all metrics for our performance and scale. We want extreme availability, all the great security, and also trying to reduce a lot of do-it-yourself kind of integration bottlenecks, and at the same time lower the per transaction cost for data transaction. Okay, we already have the world's fastest database machine, even with X8M, the previous version. Now with X9M, we have grown it even better, you know, reducing in terms of our I/O latency, you know, 8 times faster in log file reads. And I think you can read through. I won't do justice to this whole thing because it's a pretty technical piece, but do join us sometime. I think we are doing in January, where we have some launch going on together with some of our data event, and I will have our technical people going through more details, but I just give you a high level overview in this part of the X9M. And I said before, you know, we continue to be able to lower our read latency compared to all the competitors, and at the same time, we continue to drive down our write IOPS, drive up our write IOPS, you know, from 3.6x to 50x now, okay, with our X9M Exadata. Okay, in the world of OLTP, you know, we continue to be able to lower this to a 19 or less than 90 microsecond of SQL latency, you know, and up to what 27.6 million of SQL IOPS per Exadata rack. You know, there are no single point failure, and we coupled with our our sister product of Exadata, the ZDRA. It actually helps to protect the whole data platform itself, and also all the privacy and regulatory requirement. Okay, just some key highlights: 72% more IOPS versus our last iteration of our product of Exadata, 42% of lower cost per IOPS, and 33% of more pool resource. Okay, and this is just on the OLTP front. And we have also put in a lot of, you know, machine learning is not just meant for the end user to drive all your different behavioral patterns and so on and so on. We have also put in all this machine learning within the product to drive, you know, engineering, where we can now, you know, I would say that in one day, you know, our machine learning capability within the platform itself outdoes a 15-year of work where humans are used to continuously, you know, tune, drive the data to be performing faster and faster. But in 24 hours, let it run, our machine is able to implement indexes down, lowering down to 6,000, and also driving up performance. And all these are driven through machine learning within the Exadata platform. It's not having your database DBA going to tune your database workload or tune because of this query. It will actually self-learn, and within 24 hours, when it grinds through the behavioral pattern of the database, it will actually start to create index that actually drive better performance across the whole platform. Okay, in the area of analytics, of course, a lot of our customers have been using Exadata for a lot of analytical workload. We are glad to say that with the X9M product, we have actually gone from terabytes to now finally petabyte data warehouses or data workload that we can put within a Exadata full rack. Okay, and of course, all the smart scan, you know, with 100x faster in-memory optimization, and all the resource and fraud detection are all part and parcel of our management automation within the analytical platform side. Okay, again, some anecdotes, I think, some key points here. I think my mistake, I think I may have repeated a slide. Apologies. Okay, sorry, yeah, this is the one. So 1 tera per second throughput, that is the speed that we are able to drive with the X9M, and 80% higher in terms of our smart flash cache with our Roxy throughput. Okay, and these are some of the continuous evolution that we have put into the X9M Exadata versus the previous generation X8M. Okay, and of course, I think this is a more important topic. A lot of people wants to drive machine learning, and machine learning is difficult. You know, it requires data scientists, you require a lot of modeling, and stuff like that. Okay, but what we have done is that we have put all these what we call machine learning algorithms within the Oracle database. I think I've shown you the slide before that. That helps to drive machine learning model up to 10x faster, easier for you to get access to all these predefined machine learning models. And we have also created or rather introduced a lot of these data mining technologies like the R, the Python, AutoML into the Oracle database, where data scientists can also get access to it, where our normal users, DBA or SQL programmer, can actually also get access to it. In fact, we are trying to make it more easier rather than all the complexity of the different machine learning languages or technology that you need to use. You only actually really need to know just pure SQL, and you can actually get access to the broad range of machine learning models that's already provided in the platform. Okay. Again, in database machine learning is definitely faster and less costly. Why do I say so? Traditional machine learning, you have data imports, scoring, preparation of data, model building, data preparation work, and then transformation, and then finally another extraction. It could take days, it could take months, it could take hours. But because we have introduced all these technology within our singular platform, Exadata plus our converged database, but at the same time, we also introduce all these what we call machine learning models into the database. You can dramatically, because you're not integrating a lot of this data across, different silos of databases, but rather they are all contained within the platform itself or the data platform itself. It dramatically reduces the adoption, of driving machine learning and AI initiative within any organization, because they are all inbuilt within a singular platform. Okay. Switch gear a little bit. Of course, we have Exadata X9M. Together, we have also launched the Exadata Cloud@Customer X9M. Same features, same functions, same extreme performance availability, but now, a kind of hybrid in-between solution between the on-prem and the public world. It is this Cloud@Customer offering, which is introducing more simplicity, cloud simplified operation, more cost effective for you to run it within your own data center. Okay, the basic principle of Cloud@Customer remains the same. We want to use the best database cloud technology within your on-premise cloud operation model to drive automation remotely. Okay, easy to adopt, easy to set up using the same API that today between the on-prem and the public cloud. And of course, we have pay-per-use and subscription model available under Exadata Cloud@Customer. Okay, and of course, all the latest enhancement that we have put into our cloud automation is also in this platform. I think the newer two areas that we introduced is elastic storage expansion and also operator, or more granular, I would say. We already have some operator access, but this is now definitely a more granular access control for our customers that runs it, or rather giving access to the Oracle cloud operation staff to be able to access or operate some of the instruction works. Okay, and all the rest are actually what we are available today. Okay, why we do that? Because we want to give a full choice of deployment rather than thinking about what kind of databases, the IoT data, the blockchain data, the analytical data, the warehouse data, the transactional data. You only need to care about where does it make most sense for you to deploy your data platform. Is it on your data center where you purchase, where you manage, or is it Cloud@Customer, where it's based, where it's in the data center based on the subscription OpEx model, and it's co-managed between yourself and Oracle, or you want to run it autonomously in our public cloud, or what we call the Exadata Cloud Services, where it's within our OCI infrastructure. Everything is a subscription based and everything is Oracle managed. Okay, I think this would be my last slide. okay, because I want to leave some time for the Q&A. So I'll kind of end off by saying that data-driven transformation with technology through innovation, platform-enabled, ecosystem-centric, and digital resiliency is the theme today. With the Exadata X9M that's been launched, we now have, well, we already have, but now we have even, beating ourselves, the world best database machine running across different workloads from your OLTP to your analytics, okay, and driving cost effectiveness or cost effectiveness, correct? The world best database cloud at customer for those who want it fast, easier, and more cost effective with cloud-ready infrastructures, okay, and fully deployed if you are using our own autonomous database on-premise. And finally, we also think that we have the world best modern database platform, combining our Exadata or our Exadata Cloud customer with our Converge database to help you and your customer to drive or accelerate the adoption of data-driven transformation. I think with that, I think that's the end of my presentation.